Get
Oh no.
salty.
That was not a lot of effort.
No,
put into that,
I thought you were really going to take it.
I can't sing.
Yeah.
Like, I like the jingle, but I can't sing.
We need to get someone to actually sing the jingle.
We do need to get
Need to get it
someone to sing the
recorded.
jingle.
Go down.
Why don't we know any sing stuff?
No, I can't do it. I don't have a sing stuff friend. Sorry.
Ask Avery if she has a sing stuff.
Anyway, what are we getting salty about today, guys?
What are we getting?
I'll tell you what, I'm damn salty.
Oh.
I'm damn salty
It's about time.
about pre-orders and what they're doing wrong.
Oh.
Because I understand there is a need for pre-ordering.
Is
I
there?
get that.
There used to
I
be.
think there is.
There used to be.
Yeah.
And now
We're jumping in a bit.
All right.
Why are
So
you salty?
we're going to
Why are
go
you
through.
salty?
We're going to go through
I want to know why
the
you
pros
think...
and cons of pre-order.
Okay, all right. We'll go that first.
Now the pros of pre-order. It's a business side thing. It's not a consumer side thing. I think obviously the business world is hard, and managing stock levels are hard.
Yes.
And pre-orders are a great way to make sure you're not buying stuff you can't sell.
Yeah.
So as a retailer, as someone selling these games, they want to encourage pre-orders as much as they can, so they're not left with a bunch of dead stock. They're not going to go under having bad stock in their warehouse that they can't move.
All those Wii U's just
Yeah,
sitting there.
because that you have to pay for the warehouse space for that. Yeah, the Wii U is a great example of everyone off the back of the success of the Wii thought these things were going to sell like hotcakes. Sold millions of copies into little old New Zealand retailers. Dick Smith's is a great example, and not Noel Emmings, I think, got stuck with heaps
Harvey
of these
Norman, I think, as
consoles
well.
that no one bought. And what do?
Sell them for $150.
That's where I got mine.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
Get them out. You get them out and make
Right.
back whatever you can.
Yeah, that's it. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, the pre-order thing came trying to incentivize the public, people like me and you, give us a little incentive to put some money down and say, yes, we will buy this thing, to make their job a little bit easier in terms of what's going to sell and what isn't. But then they kind of thought, hey, these pre-orders are working a bit too well.
Yeah.
So how can we make people, buy these pre-orders by actually disincentivizing them to wait? And I think that's where everything's gone wrong.
Somebody's calling me. Go
I
away.
think it's got enough.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, so there are pros to pre-ordering, and I think that back when they started doing the pre-order bonuses, where you get a little bit extra, things were good. But now I think it'll feel like they're punishing people to actually not buy on day one.
Have you got an example of that?
Let me think. I was thinking
Something intentional that they've done that says don't pre-order, wait.
something intentional. Yeah.
Don't pre-order.
No,
Yeah.
no, he's going to the opposite.
You were saying that there are disincentives
To waiting.
Oh, to wait. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
no,
Sorry.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so
You
pre-order
will
or
be
you're going to
screwed
miss
over.
out.
Yeah. You will
Alright.
literally not get the full experience.
Right, right.
Yeah, and I think a few things have done that.
I can't think of anything that... I'm sure I've been annoyed by this, but I actually can't think of anything.
My biggest... Well, I've got one example, which was one of the older Batman games. It may have been Batman Arkham City, I think it was.
Yeah.
Where if you pre-ordered, you got like an actual chunk of the game. It wasn't just like a costume or something like that. It was a playable section. I think it might have been as Catwoman, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the most recent one did the same thing
Harley
with Harley Quinn.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But
on
could
the...
you get that afterwards? Was it possible to obtain that post-pre-order?
If let's say the pre-orders were done and I bought it on day one, let's say I went in and all my mates had pre-ordered and I went in on day one, no, I don't believe it was
Yeah,
available
that's
to
where
me.
it annoys me.
It would have been available to me when they released their entire edition or complete edition version,
okay.
6 to 8 months later, I think.
Yeah,
But to me, it's not something I could have.
right. That sucks.
Yeah, and they do it a lot with games like Call of Duty or games where you can have when you start playing it, you have by pre-ordering you have a set of weapons that you can use before anyone else can. So you have an advantage when the game starts over the other players because you've pre-ordered that game.
Yeah.
So it means that all the people that didn't pre-order have a shitter set of
I
weapons.
think Halo's done something. There's some kind of pre-ordering.
And so I was wondering, who should be the people incentivizing the pre-ordering? Should it be the publishers or should it actually be the retailers?
I think it should be the retailer.
I think it should be the retailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I think as well. I don't think the publishers... It's not their job to help, it kind of is, they have a tight relationship with these retail guys. But,
I think it's moved from retailers to publishers, basically. And I've seen it happening. Back in the day, it used to be you would just get some random stuff that the store had as leftovers. They would just be like, pre-order and you get this DVD of a movie that didn't sell, so you can have it now. And then it moved on to publishers seeing that retailers were handing out stuff. So they'd give them little flyers.
Yeah.
Hand out these flyers with any pre-orders as well. It'd just be advertising new games coming out. Then those flyers started having download codes on them. And now those download codes that come inside the disc for the first amount that have gone out to those stores.
Why can't retailers just do, if you pre-order this game, it's going to be cheaper?
Easy, right?
That would be the
You will
best.
get it cheaper than
You will
anybody
have it
else.
cheaper.
Yeah.
So a good example of this, and it's from New Zealand retailer Mighty Ape. What they're doing with Battlefront coming out next month is they've said if you pre-order from us, we're going to throw in a free poster and also a Darth Vader bobblehead, pop vinyl.
Because they've got all of that
off their own
merchandise.
back. To incentivize those pre-orders to get it through. And that's like good. It's like a bonus that sits outside of the game that you've done by helping out the retailer,
And that's,
right?
and that's where this all originated from anyway.
Yeah.
And when I was saying they were giving out stuff, it wasn't to get the pre-orders, it was to make sure your store got the pre-order and not the store over there. So it sounds like Mighty Ape's going back to that.
And now you've got like this horrible situation in the States. It's not actually a problem as much here in New Zealand, but in America, different retailers have been given different things by the publishers so that a consumer cannot get everything. So if you look at when Batman came out, they had a bunch of DLC for all the different costumes, the Batman costumes. So you could be like 1960s Adam West. You could be Batman Beyond, and I think there was like an animated series one as well. And they gave one to Walmart, one to GameStop, one to, was it Best Buy? And they were like, depending on what store you buy from, you get one costume, and you can't get them all.
They're not even not available for purchase. Nothing.
That's terrible.
And they're
literally
doing
the worst.
They were doing the same, again, not in New Zealand, so we're kind of lucky with this, but they do the same in America with Amiibo. They have like Amiibo, certain versions only available with certain stores. So it's like, anyone can go and buy them from that store. So it's not so much a pre-order thing. But if you don't have one of those in your town or that kind of thing, you're out of luck.
And we all blame the publishers as well, but how much slack are they getting from the retailers actually going back to them and being like, hey, listen, you help us out or we're not going to sell your product or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You get a lot of that. So that's kind of... where do we sit on pre-orders? How often do you guys pre-order stuff?
I'm real mixed. I never pre-order stuff. As a policy, I never pre-order stuff, but I don't have too big of an issue with it, as long as it's outside of selling us unfinished content, which is that's my only reason to think otherwise. Because if it's any other reason, it's just a great way for the store developers to support their fan base, and that's kind of cool. But it is happening way too much now that they're like, oh, well, we built this while we were building the original game, but we're not going to give it to you. And it's like that thing again. It's just that unfinished experience. And then the people afterwards are like, well, it's not really a complete game, is it? And you guys paid the same amount, and it's like... And
that sort of goes on to a whole other thing. So it's not even not being able to get aspects of a game that other people can have. So you get in part of an experience that I don't get. It's about the fact that sometimes the game isn't finished.
Yes.
You are paying for and getting on day one... because of your pre-order, a game that is broken. A game like in the most recent Batman game is being taken off the store. You cannot purchase it because of how broken it was.
And they knew that was broken as
well. They knew it was broken when it was going out. They probably knew it when all the pre-orders were coming in. They were seeing their numbers.
And also they did a partnership with NVIDIA that they were giving the game away free with all the graphics card purchases. So all these people buy new graphics cards. For it and got a free game that didn't go. It's
And so by doing pre-orders, by saying I'm willing to pre-order in this day and age, you're saying I'm okay with the chance that it's not going to work.
It is that.
Which people complain about if it's early access. If you pay for an early access game that's broken, even when you know it's not finished, you complain. People complain.
That's it. And if you look back to the days before, downloadable updates and patches and that sort of thing, PS1, PS2 era. You would, if you bought a game and it was broken, that was it. You would never, never expect to buy a broken game. Everything in that store you would expect to work and work well. Now it's kind of become okay for it not to. And I think
incentivize developers to not.
And the publishers the publishers developers have been like, well, we can always fix it later. It's not really going to affect sales. It's kind of this attitude they've got now that if they can do enough pre-orders, the game just needs to hit the date and then we'll fix it later.
This is a relatively new thing as well, this issue, because I remember back in Bioshock, when Bioshock, the first one came out, so that was on a console that had the ability for updates, But I remember pre-ordering that game, and I got a little statue that if I pre-ordered, and I think it came with the limited edition version as well. But it was kind of like, I knew that if I didn't pre-order, I may not get it because it wasn't coming into the stores in big numbers from what we'd heard, because it was a new IP. Had plenty of marketing, but people weren't 100% sure how well it was going to sell.
Yeah.
And so the store, my local store, said, we're not actually getting many in. If you want to get it from us, then you're going to need to pre-order.
EB says that a lot, actually, about certain things. Yeah. But I don't know if sometimes I feel like retailers push it in that way.
Sure.
They'll almost say, you're going to need to pre-order this, or there's not going to be enough stock for you. And it's like, well, 9 times out of 10 there are.
But that's not an issue we have anymore, because you can just get the digital version at any point.
Exactly.
You can't log into the Xbox store to see that it's not available for the next 4 months because they need to free up new digital
from a need
code.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, so it's kind of, there was a very specific purpose to it back in the day. What is the purpose to pre-order for a consumer? I got it from the business point of view. You can see what your numbers are going to be like. But even now, if you look at what Nintendo could be doing with the NX and making it digital only, what would be a point of a pre-order system with a company like that when there are no costs to getting it printed, no worry about getting it out to retail stores? Will they still have pre-orders?
A lot of people, I think sometimes, I think I'm going to make this point while I'm thinking about it still, but we know the release dates of games really well. The general public, not so much. Like if I can think of some people I know who play games that play a certain number of titles, but not that many, they will pre-order something, or wait for it to turn up, or for them to be called to be reminded that they should go get it.
Right,
because they're not like counting down specifically to a date. They're like, oh, I'm in the shop now looking, I'll pre-order that because I actually want to play that, and I'm probably going to forget that it's...
Yeah.
So
there's also
a reminder.
As well, they want to. The other reason for incentivizing pre-orders is to strike while the iron's hot. Like, hype for games fluctuates before release. So what you find is that a lot of around E3, around announcements, around this is as hype as people are going to get before the game releases. They want to make purchases that day. So when I think when the PlayStation 4 was announced, their press conference, that conference they did, they opened up pre-orders straight away, and a lot of people purchased 10 months out off the back of the hype of that press conference. So the other reason for pre-orders is to make people put money down when the hype is high.
Endless business reasons for it. But the thing is, why as a consumer
as a consumer do we want to do it? I don't know, because I want to do it. I don't know why.
Is there a good replacement? Because like you're saying, so if pre-orders are around from a business point of view to gauge numbers, but also to build hype, why don't we replace the pre-order system with just a launch day? But then you market 6 months down the track, just do another round of marketing for that game. Treat it like there's a second launch for it. So you can worry about just getting enough for X amount of sales at the start. Then you can, because at the moment, movies, if you think of movies, you get a movie trailer and then it hits the movies. Then you get ads going out. This is now on DVD. And then the DVD launches. They've got an extra round of marketing for that. And then when it eventually goes to the TV companies, they get a whole bunch of adverts going out and hype again. There's always peaks and troughs for marketing for movies, where there's just a hill and then a complete cliff for video game marketing.
There seems to be a different culture in video games where if you're not buying it within that launch window, I think we talked about this before, the hype does go away really quickly.
It does.
I wouldn't buy The Witcher now.
There's so many games.
I've said this before, The Witcher hype to me is just evaporated. I'll never buy that game anymore. I might have, if someone had pushed me back when it was about to come out, I might have bought it. I probably wouldn't have played it, but I might have bought that. So that's an interesting one. I think we see what they're doing with the movies. I think we see a little bit of that now with betas as well. They use that as a bit of pre-hype. And they I mean, there was pushes in the latest Battlefront beta to purchase the game, which was quite smart. You had that really good experience, and then you can go and do it. And I like that as well, because you can tell that the game actually goes somewhat.
But do you think that could also kill definite purchases? Someone who was I'm super hyped up for Battlefront, played the beta, oh no, it's not actually what I want. It has now cost them a sale.
But I think one outweighs the other. Because some friends of mine, ex-colleagues of mine are working on Mini Metro, which has been in early access for quite some time. Dino Polo Club, been working on that. And so they had a huge amount of numbers when they first went into early access,
and now they're coming up for launch again, that their sort of marketing's going out and websites are covering it again. And so they have had a couple of marketing pushes.
Yeah.
And each time those marketing pushes have gone out, that's had an increased sales. So that's mimicking that kind of movie thing. But once it launches, is that it? Should they go in another 6 months and do a second launch or a second, just put some of that marketing money aside that would go into getting people to pre-order, to push it 6 months after launch just to get that extra sale?
Isn't that what you could be doing with all those pre-order bonuses?
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of putting money into making these pre-order bonuses bullshit that you hand out.
Yeah. You do actually see this.
Later,
Yeah.
You see this with Game of the Year editions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good point.
So people have tried to cash in on them. Capcom do it well with their Ultimate editions. And
and I suppose when you're bundling all of your DLC and you package it in. So I guess they have that's a relatively new thing that people have been doing.
You brought up a good point though. Why do we like to pre-order?
I can count probably on one hand the amount of things I've ever pre-ordered.
I pre-order all the time.
I used to pre-order all the time, and it was because of the fear that I may not be playing on day one.
Right.
And that fear's not there anymore. If I need to be playing on day one, I can just get the digital version from home. It's not going to be a problem.
There are some games out there that do a pre-order that goes, you can play a couple of days early. That is a real kick in the face, because it's like the game is finished, it's ready, you have released it, but you're not letting the rest of us play. That is mean. I think in this entire conversation, there's a point to be made that in gaming, for a lot of things, especially with a lot of hardcore fans, there's a certain level of entitlement that we have that makes no sense in the real world. It's like, why do we suddenly deserve all of these things? Why do we deserve a complete game? Why do we deserve anything really?
Okay, I mean,
and it's sort of like you've got control over your money and you're doing your own little thing.
The easy answer to that is if you go and buy a book, you don't expect 2 pages to be missing.
You don't, but it is not the same.
And it's not your right to say, I want to have those 2 pages in my book. It's just like you're buying what you're being told is if it's on a shelf, it's a finished product.
But again, it's a completely different medium. And in terms of a game, they wouldn't remove a chapter. If they do, that may have happened once or twice.
The Batman,
but that is not acceptable,
chapter.
and we've shown that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
But there is a certain level where there's something like, they didn't add the ability to play a DLC character. That doesn't break the game, and it doesn't usually go away from the experience. But we make such a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
But it's this level of entitlement that in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. Why do you guys?
I know what you're saying, because pre-order bonuses, you can have the new hero of Assassin's Creed dressed like Ezio. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Well, the skins or things like
that doesn't bother me if I miss out on that.
But some people do.
But it shouldn't bother people. Because like I said, you're not getting promised that skin is in the game. You're saying if you do pre-order, you're going to get the bonus of this.
So you're fine with the 3 separated Batman skins?
That doesn't bother me because it's just a skin. It doesn't affect any of the gameplay. It doesn't even give you better stats.
If we're doing books, it's like a
it
book
is
cover.
like a
It's
book
like,
cover.
you can only buy this certain hardcover book from one store. It's like,
if those 3 skins,
playing the game.
If those 3 skins, one of them gave Batman extra health.
Yeah.
And one of them gave him better strength or an item that you wouldn't normally get, then I might be a bit upset about it. But if it's purely cosmetic, I don't care. It's the same with microtransactions. People putting microtransactions into their games, which lets you wear a different hat. That just doesn't. That's fine. I'm never going to buy that
if I can go and buy those outfits.
Like
yourself some other later.
Well, so Battlefront.
Without buying a whole other copy of the game.
Battlefront, for example, when it launches, if you pre-order, you will get the first bit of DLC for free.
Oh no, that's free for everyone. It's not
that Battle of Jakku thing.
It's free for everyone. I looked up on that controversy.
Do you get it early or something?
Yes, you do. You do get it early, yes, but everyone gets that first set of DLC.
I'm back on board. I'm into the pre-orders.
You're okay.
Yeah.
You were certainly right. It incentivizes really bad behavior from developers and publishers who can take advantage.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
they are naughty children.
But the
and
thing
it's
is,
just something that's not necessary anymore.
Because
the whole point of pre-orders is that you might not get to play it on day one. It was for people who wanted to be playing on day one that may run the risk of not playing on day one. You don't have that risk anymore. If you want to be playing on day one and you can't get the physical, you can pay for an extra $10-$20 right now to have it right now.
That's exactly what happened with Mario Maker. That's why you did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're not really salty about pre-orders in general. We're salty
fuck
about
pre-orders.
We're salty about the manipulation of pre-orders to incentivize and
It's taken something that was
consumers,
required and it's just turned it into some mutant of what it should be.
A mutant of marketing.
Yeah,
because there's still that element, like we
mutant.
want to have it secured that day one and play it. Like that's still relevant and cool.
Yeah.
And you can just do that. But there's no real reason why you should do that, because you can just buy it on day one and get it, unless you want that physical copy, which is again where
or
we're
it's
coming
hardware.
from. Yeah.
So how can let's say they decide, we're not going to give away, no one's allowed to pre-order anymore, and if you do pre-order, you don't get any more bullshit along with it. You just get the game on day one. Since that's no longer important, you can get it digitally no matter what now on day one. How could they give you some new shit free of charge? But you've got to do something for them. What's something that you'd be
do that as a viral marketing campaign. Like, share this thing and you'll get this code to use.
Exactly. And what was it?
Again,
Dying Light. Dying Light did that. The developers of Dying Light did that because there was some game that did like some tie-in with a soft drink recently, not the Mountain Dew one from a while back.
Destiny Red Bull,
And so like if you do something with your Red Bull, you're going to get blah blah blah. Destiny, the social media guys for Dying Light went online and said, if you take a photo of yourself with a glass of water, we will give you free DLC. And they gave away so much free DLC and they got so much publicity from it, and they would have guaranteed got more sales because of doing that. That cost them nothing. Some zeros and ones.
So really the moral of the story is, please be smarter and better with your marketing and stop making us buy your random bullshit.
It's all marketing. It's all about trying to build up your hype. Do it in more inventive and creative ways than just trying to get people scared that they're not going to get a copy on day one, because they're going to.
And I guess it's hard to say, like, as consumers, just don't buy in to the stuff that's very obviously bad, and people will do it less, because it's, I mean, a lot of the stuff that bad pre-orders do for games tend to hurt the perception of the developer.
That's right.
Yeah,
You think poor Rocksteady, right? They gave the latest Batman game to a porting team. The porting team did a terrible job, and they released it, and Rocksteady is getting all of the blame. Not this piece of crap over on the side that have made terrible games. Just Rocksteady, who have made amazing Batman games, is getting the heat for something that really wasn't their problem. It was Warner Brothers, and it was the porting team. I'm going to straight up say it. I'm round this off just saying, never pre-order. Do not pre-order.
No, see,
you're encouraging.
Not much point.
You're encouraging bad behavior, as well as letting developers know that you're going to buy a broken game. You're happy to buy a broken game. You don't need the extra bullshit. It's normally cosmetic.
I disagree.
And you will get it day one if you need it day one.
Fallout has done a really good job at doing pre-orders. I wanted to point this out. Fallout 4, they haven't added anything to the game. They're sort of like, if you pre-order from certain stores, you can get art book and music.
I love the art book
like
pre-order
that's
thing.
a really good way to incentivize people. But you shouldn't really need
from
to.
Specific stores. So I don't get my art book if I pre-order somewhere else.
There is one thing that is from specific stores, and that is, I believe they've exclusively sold EB and whatever that's called, GameStop, and like that's a chain that's owned everywhere. It's just called different things in different places. They are only letting them do the special edition of Fallout, which I hate, because I mean I can't go to the stores that I love and support them by getting.
So don't pre-order.
It falls back. You have to say it falls back to the publishers. I mean, that might be a good pre-order, but if that game comes out broken, then all those people are stupid.
That
wasn't their fault.
And
it was
I
a
don't
good pre-order.
pre-order.
Let's move on. I hit the bell.
You don't want to give your final wrap up on
my
why
final
you think it's
wrap
good or
up
bad?
is, I think pre-orders are a good thing. I think it's a good thing because the community likes to get behind a product, and I think getting your community behind a product early can be super strong.
That's true.
But it comes down to the publisher. You could either make it good or you can make it bad. You know, if you get a community really on side to your game, pre-ordering it, and it comes out broken, then that's on you.
Drive Club. Amy, your thoughts?
I still think that there's not really any reason to pre-order stuff. And unless it's going to be across the board, it is the publisher's fault. But unless it's going to be across the board kind of a fair and even thing, I'm very against the pre-ordering for incentivized.
Can we pre-ordering?
I don't know.
Where are our pedals?
Nah.
I think the retailers should do it. Publishers focus on making a good game. Retailers give us stuff for pre-ordering.
Sell all of those bonuses separately.
Ding ding.